Good evening. Well, actually, good morning. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't get to sleep, so I thought make a little bit of an update video for this. Hopefully, not too long. There's the dog yawning as it's early morning for both of us. As you can see, all my 6 chins are out today. I had a shave yesterday. I hate being clean shaven-ish. Can't wait for it to go back in a few days. So, update wise, I mentioned before about an English Civil War project that I'd started off. Well, I didn't start off, a couple of lads at a Wargaming club that I'm a member of. They got into it, and I've always loved the period. So, I've dipped my toe, so to speak. Now, I've decided this year to paint in batches of miniatures. Whereas in the past I'd paint maybe like a unit or two at a time, and sometimes I'd lose my mojo, just couldn't get this unit finished, I just lost interest in it. And I'm sure everyone has that kind of problem now and again. So I'd say late November last year, I decided to paint a whole batch of miniatures, which included the 10mm English Civil War stuff. So I've had painted a great gun, a cavalry squadron, Sir Charles Lucas's regiment of horse, a squadron of that. He actually had a brigade of horse in total, I think. So it'll be maybe I might do like 4 squadrons to represent that brigade. And the first division of the Newcastle Whitecoats at Marston Moor, they had 4. They were called divisions, 4 battalions, regiments, whatever, however you want to term them. You know, pipe block, infantry, flanks or sleeves. So I painted up an entire infantry unit, an entire cavalry unit, an entire artillery unit, and I'm going to be doing a cavalry, infantry and artillery unit every phase that I do. But alongside those, I've been painting other things as well. So part of the first batch was painting 2 units of Persian infantry for line rampant. It's actually early Persian. Is it Achaemenid? Is that the way you pronounce it? So it's the chaps who fought against Alexander, and you know, took part in the succession wars, things like that. So it's a little bit earlier than what line rampant is. However, it's just infantry types, with the odd special rule fight against other infantry types. So I've got a unit of immortals, and they are the golden immortals. Immortals, famously 10,000 strong. You know, if 10 died in battle or something, they got 10 replacements straight away, so they're always 10,000 strong. However, within that 10,000, there was 1,000 which were the elite of the elite. Now, each immortal had a spear with, I'm not sure if it was a pomegranate or an apple or something like that, or an artichoke perhaps, made of either silver or gold. Now there was 1,000 with gold artichokes which were placed on the butt end of the spear, and the rest had the silver ones. So I painted up a unit of the golden ones, so they're going to be like elite of elite foot soldiers, and they'll have a couple of special rules, you know, make them you know, hardcore kind of thing. And I've painted up a unit of archers, and the same kind of thing. There was a unit of archers which were part of the immortal, or part of the guards anyway, and they were elite, kind of elite as well. So I've painted those 2 up. I've got other infantry to paint up, part of my next batch, the 3rd batch. I haven't done any infantry for the Persians in this 2nd batch, but I have made a start on painting up some GGs and I've base coated some of the I've actually painted the trousers on these guys as well, don't know if you can make that out, you can just see my mush, but yeah, there's cavalrymen, there's those guys, and I'll get these down without knocking them all over. Oh, the horse over. So I've got those guys that you've just seen, which will be, I think, Thessalonian Allied Cavalry, something like that. They've got shields and like a war hammer kind of thing. But these guys, they've got a bit better armour, they've got javelin, and they've also got, well, I've given them anyway, I've modelled and then I've started to paint them, as you can see. They've got, he will be the Army General in total when I've finished painting them. So this unit will be on horses with that kind of saddle cloth. It's like a leopard skin, so I'm going to have to learn how to paint leopard skin, which should be nice. All those horses in that unit are black as well, just distinguishes them from other units. I've got 4 cavalry units in total, and they came from the heavy cavalry bags, basically, from Victrix, heavy Persian cavalry. So I've separated the different types of horses. So the horses all have the same pose in the unit, but I think as long as the cavalryman on top looks a little bit different, you know, it's not too bad. Like I say, the saddle cloths look different in each unit as well. So if you just pull up another one of those guys, as you can see, it's the one with the square edged. So I've got 2 units of those on the go for this batch. Got an apothecary for my Primaris Howling Griffins. Obviously he'll be white, blue helmet, and I'll paint one of his shoulder pads yellow and red. Similar thing I did to a chaplain that I painted, you know, black, and then paint one of his shoulder pads. Also on the 40k front, I've restarted a project I started years ago. I got do you remember the Dark Vengeance box set, which was Dark Angels and Red Corsairs, Chaos Space Marines. You got a couple of squads of cultists, a Hellbrute, a Chosen squad, which I've got the new Chaos Codex, and the Chosen squad is now illegal. So the members of that squad, you can still get Chosen squads, but the weapons they've got, you can't get them all in the squad. So some of them will stay in the Chosen squad, but some of them, like there's a dude with a really great looking axe. He's going to be like an executioner. I think it's an executioner in the Chaos list. I haven't got the codex handy. But yeah, and a Chaos Lord basically as well, just in Space Marine armour, regular armour. And these are the start of that. These are the cultists. I've put a little bit of paint on. As you can see, pretty much everything I do, base coat in Wraithbone and contrast paints, 90% of the time contrast paints. Yeah, really dodgy eyesight, as I'm sick of saying now. It just works quick, you know what I mean? Now, that's the 40k stuff out of the way for this batch, like I said. What should I go into next? I've got the Persians, 40k. Right, so last time round I painted 12 Beastmen, really old school Battle Masters style Beastmen. It's another line rampant project, because like I say, it's just unit types fighting against each other. And I've planned to do a Beastman themed army. And then I'm wanting like 3 Minotaurs, which will represent a 6-man elite infantry unit. So they'll get like 2 wounds each kind of thing. A bit well, not tougher, but obviously that's what it represents, 6 men, but it'll be like 3 Minotaurs because they're huge. The 12 Beastmen that I've done will represent a 12-man warrior unit, and I have started, so I'm going to put that over there without getting form to show everybody, and I have started a, God, he looks huge, he looks bigger than the apothecary, doesn't he? It's all perspectives. These cows are far away, dude. Yeah. So yeah, these are Ungors. So the beastmen that I mentioned, the old style beastmen, are Gors, and these are like Ungors. Obviously, you'll have seen he's just got a bow on him. So I've got 12 of those based up, armed up as archers, and they're just going to be like levy troops in the books, which are really, really poor infantry. Not very good at much. So it kind of offsets, you've got that massive elite unit of Minotaurs kicking about. And I want a warlord on a chariot as well, like a beast lord on a chariot. And he'll be an elite cavalry unit, basically. So he's got like 6 wounds, and he's tough as nails. But I'll have like 4 units of Ungors running about who, you fart in their direction and they fall down. A bit like Neymar. Call him Neymar. Yeah. So that's the Beastmen. Another project I've kind of been talking about is a 15mm project for, again, line rampant rules, but these are 15mm, and it's the Second Barons' War. So that's like Henry III and Simon de Montfort kicking ass against each other. Only 2 real major battles. There was a few sieges, no doubt skirmishes all over the place as well for their various supporters. And I've gone for the Royalists, obviously Henry III, and the rebels under Simon de Montfort. Excuse me. So I'm kind of trying to build up 2 forces at the same time for those. The Royalists are under Richard, Earl of Cornwall. He was also, at the time, he was called King of the Germans, which is basically the Holy Roman Emperor. So he obviously had a lot of mercenary troops he could call on from the German provinces, principalities, things like that. And they were also supported by a lot of French nobility. So yeah, there's various French, Gascon, Burgundy allies that could fight for them. And I got a command pack from Essex Miniatures to paint as part of this second batch. I didn't do any for the first batch I previously mentioned, but I have painted 4 units for this project before. 2 units of knights, identical, just 6 knights with lances, and on the Royalist side, obviously it's the Earl of Cornwall's heraldry. It's a red lion with a blue outline around the shield with gold. I'm not sure it's gold stars or just gold circles. It's a bit tricky to do with the line, so it's just like a red squiggle. The 15mm, the line's probably 3mm. It's the best I can do, but it'll do. So I've painted, like I say, a unit of cavalry and a unit of mercenary horsemen, paint them bluey greeny style, so they come from France or somewhere like that. And on the rebel side, I painted a unit for Gilbert de Clare, or Gilbert the Red, as he was also known. Interestingly, at the Lewis campaign, the first year of the war, he fought as a rebel on Simon de Montfort's side, and then he switched allegiances, and fought for the Royalist side at Evesham, or Evesham. So yeah, he was always a winner, good old Gilbert, and an old ancestor of mine as well, I hasten to add. And his heraldry, yellow shields with 3 red chevrons, or 3 chevrons red, as I've already read the book about the Gilbert the Declare family, and it's quite an interesting read. The last one of them died at Bannockburn. So if you've got the Osprey Bannockburn book, if you look on the front cover, you'll see an ancestor of mine lying face down in the dirt, dead. He did, yeah. So like I say, I've got cavalry. I've got a unit of cavalry, but this is a command cavalry. So in this unit, I have who I will be painting up as the King of the Germans, Richard of Cornwall himself there. He's got a crown on, which I suppose you could say it's like a coronet maybe. But he was King of the Germans, so he doubtfully would have worn his crown in battle, I must admit. And in fact, there's a painting in the Lewis and Evesham campaign book by Osprey of him being captured in a windmill, as you do. And yeah, he doesn't have a crown on then. Yeah, so cavalry. Like I say, paint the horses with Wraith 1 undercoat. And then I've also got a little group of a king. Oh, that's another. That's a woman. Another woman. So there's the king. So he will eventually be Henry III. He's got a shield there as well. And Henry was captured at the Battle of Lewis as well. Was Henry captured or just his son Edward? I know Edward escaped. Henry might have escaped. Can't quite remember. Not long since I read up about it. I've even been to Lewis. Lewis is a lovely place to visit. And you also get 2 women in that pack as well, so I don't know who these are going to be, but you know. Ooh. Yeah, I've got 2 women dressed differently. I use them as objective markers or something, you know. And then I've got 12 of these little guys on the go as well, crossbowmen. So these will be part of the Royalists as well. As far as archers go, for the Declare faction, I'll just use men armed with, at the time were called war bows, we call them longbows now, to represent Welsh forces. Like I say, I painted up a cavalry unit of knights with the Declare heraldry on. I've also painted up a unit of light cavalry. They wear mostly like peasant clothes kind of thing. There's only really the trappings on the horses that signify, mark them out as part of the Gilbert, part of the Declare faction. So yeah, Welsh light cavalry, I'll do some archers. And I've also got some spearmen for the next batch that I'm going to do. Yeah, so that's the 15mm stuff out the way. I've talked about 10mm stuff already. So now the smaller stuff, you know, yeah, it gets smaller. And I've been working on, well, I'll go back. My favourite ever game ever played was the old Space Marine 2nd edition. Came out in the mid-90s. I remember my grandmother got me a copy of it for, might have been my 16th or 17th birthday or something like that. God knows what happened to it, you know, like many toys from childhood. I mean, I was 17, 16, 17, should have been out shagging, but no, I was painting little grav tanks and stuff like that. Well, I wasn't painting technically at the time, but anyway, I digress, as I normally do. Yeah, my favourite ever game that was. It was quality. And it still is. It's still kicking about. In its present form, it's called NetEpic, and you can download the rules and the codexes kind of things, army books. Just type in NetEpic on Google or Bing or whatever you use, and you're bound to find the website, go to the download section and download the rules and everything. And the rules are a little bit more complex now because the game's evolved a little bit, but it's basically still a very basic game. And yeah, it was 2 years ago now, I started an Imperial Fist army, and I've got almost 4,000 points worth of Imperial Fists. They've got a Titan as well, a Warlord Titan, Land Raider Company, Space Marine Company, various attached detachments as well, you know, Vindicators, Whirlwinds, veteran company, platoon company. Yeah, things like that. I absolutely love it. And I started a Chaos Force to, you know, play against that army last year. And there's two separate factions for the Chaos Army that I've put together. One's an Iron Warriors faction, so you've got an Iron Warriors company of infantry, 15 stands split in three detachments of infantry, which I've yet to paint. They're still actually in the little bags that they came in. I might leave those for the next batch, because I've got quite a bit on here, tell the truth, looking at it now. But yeah, I've got Iron Warriors and Khorne mixed together, not mixed together, but they'll be allies on the same battlefield. So I've got like Bloodletters for Khorne, Juggernauts of Khorne. I've got some Havocs for the Iron Warriors. I've got 3 Demon Engines, all Tower of Skulls, so lots of shots with them for Khorne. And for the Iron Warriors, we've got a special as a Warlord Titan again, and he's here. I've obviously based these up in lead belcher out of the pot, so it's not brilliant, but most will just wash over. And yes, it does have a bell thing, which is only for Imperial Titans, which I found out when I stuck it all together. But I mean, that's just decorative for me. I won't use any rules for it, obviously. He's got 4 weapons there: Power Fist, which is good for taking down buildings, and that Laser Burner, close combat, kind of burn the shit out of stuff close in. Can't remember what that one's called. Turbo Cannon, maybe. Vortex missile, which should be fun. And yeah, another Warlord Titan to paint up. This one's for the Iron Warriors. And I also have 3 Defilers. These are great little kits. 8mm scale, but I think these are a little bit bigger than they would be if they were scaled up to 28mm. So you've seen, I've just showed you that one. That one's a little bit bigger than these, but I've got 2 this size as well. And when I ordered these, there were 2 different types. I ordered one of one type and 2 of another type, without realising that they were slightly different. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. They're all just tiny, very, very wee. And I've got a unit of Predators as well, which again, base painted lead belcher. Paint some hazard stripes on them, some yellow and black, a little bit of gold and brass, and that'll do for them. Won't take too much to finish those off. And yeah, so that is everything for my next batch, miniature wise. Did I show you these? These are the cavalry that I'm doing for the English Civil War. The last lot I did, I'd actually based them up 2 to a base and then painted them. Same with the infantry, I'd put them in like little squares, 4. Well, I'd eventually put them 4 to a 25mm square, 20mm square, sorry, not 25mm. And they were a bit of a pain to paint, so I'm going to paint them on lollipop sticks. Makes it a bit easier. And the artillery piece, I still haven't undercoated. I've just noticed I'll have to give it a spray sometime soon. So that's a great gun. Obviously there's a limbo on there as well. I could have put the limbo and everything on a separate base, but I didn't bother. See more of a faff onto like 2 bases for a gun, which just plonked down. I also want some medium and light guns for the English Civil War stuff as well. I've got 8 great guns. I don't know why I ordered so many. I might give a couple away. I might go for maybe just 4. Because there weren't that many guns that size in the country at the time, to tell the truth. But there we go. So as well as doing all this infantry, last time round I also focused on doing the table, which you'll have seen a video of. Hopefully it's basic 18mm MDF 6x4, painted green. Then I put PVA down on top, which was a little bit patchy, I must admit. I should have really watered it down a bit and sprayed it on, so I knew it was all over. And then I've basically just put green flock down, woodland scenics green flock, blended turf it's called, and then I've like highlighted with patches of just the light green turf, and it looks canny, looks alright. I fixed the patches and everything, the bits which just didn't stick. Yeah, it looks alright. So last time round I didn't really do much terrain wise because I was fanning on with that, but this time round I've got a couple of terrain bits on the go as well as all this. So I've got this quaint little wishing well. Now I say little, that's a 28mm dude. Now I think it's just a little bit will it do for 28mm? Does it look too big? I think it looks a little bit too big, but you know, when it's on the table and you've got shit running around it, and I think it'll look alright. I just noticed I still need to paint the inside of it. I should have sprayed it instead of brush painted it, and it took bloody ages. That's something else I've set up, a little spray booth in the house as well, because it's absolutely bloody freezing this time of year, and yeah, you just can't spray outdoors. Yeah, I quite like the look of it. It'll look alright once it's painted. Like I say, contrast paints again, Basilican grey, stonework. The odd stone I might do like a sandstone colour, so skeleton whatever. Face layer flesh maybe as well here and there. And then the wood, wildwood. I know, yeah, completely skipped my mind. The warps I'll do like a lighter brown colour as well, or like a flesh colour or something. And then the tiles they look like wooden shingles as well. So yeah, I'll do like obviously the same colour as the rest of the wood, but I'll pick out certain tiles. Yeah, it looks canny. Got it off eBay. Took a little while to come, and yeah, the bitching about the wanting feedback. You know, I'm the kind of person who once every 3 months they'll go on eBay and they'll give feedback for the last 40 things that they bought off eBay. And I've also got this on the go, which is 2 terrain pieces. I bought these back in Leeds at the Fiasco Leeds Wargame show ages ago. So I've stuck them to this board. This one was warped a bit, so I had to kind of crack it, and a little bit of snow fell off. Should have fallen off the other day when I glued it all down and then shook it off. Yeah, as you can see, I've got, that's rock hard, that. I might go over that with watered down PVA, I don't know. This is just sharp sand. You can get from anywhere basically, bag of sharp sand. So yeah, I'll paint that up and I really should have sprayed it before I put the sharp sand on, actually, to tell the truth. It took a little. But yeah, it'll look alright. It's just another terrain piece, and I'll file down these edges so they're a little bit more chamfered, or maybe the right word actually, chamfered. And yeah, like I say, this bit here, this bit was actually warped, so it was, I had to like glue this side down, then push this side down and split a tiny little bit there. It looks alright, it's just a crack in the wood. And then glue this bit down. You can see the amount of glue I had to use. Yeah, worked alright. We've got that to do, and I'll just put grass around the edge so it like fits in with the board I've just sorted out. I've got a lot of terrain for that already, so these may be the last bits I do for that board. That said, I do have some ready built and already painted MDF houses. I got them cheap off eBay, and just to test them out, kind of thing. And I still haven't put them together. And they're 28mm scale. They're more like Tudor style buildings. So I don't know if I'll, yeah, I'll probably put them on a couple of these bases that I've got. I say bases, they're actually placemats, dinner mats. And you just, the cork ones, so obviously you just turn them upside down, glue onto the cork, and then that's the bottom. And you can just put it on the table, and they work brilliantly. You can buy like a pack here for them, 4 little ones as well, which you'll have just seen. And that's what that is. Yeah, placemat. See, chamfer the edges down, so when you flock it and glue it and paint it and everything, it just looks part of the table. So yeah, I've got that on the go, and then this. This is like 17th century up to, well, this could probably do 16th century actually, going up to like the 19th, maybe even 20th century now, probably 19th century. And it's all these are individual bits of a redoubt, and I have had these bits for maybe 8 years, something like that, in a box. And when I was sorting out terrain to put on the table, when I'd like finished the Wargaming table, I found this in a box and I was like, oh, that's where they are. I'll do something with that. So as you can see, there'll be grass around the edge, a couple of rocks maybe, some tufts of grass, and maybe a little bush or something here and there. And then the centre is just sharp sand. And it's quite hard. Not going anywhere. Say that, I've just knocked a bit off. So yeah, I'll probably I normally go over the gravelly sharp sand with watered down PVA just to really hold it in tight. And then you can see there's like gabions. That's a gabion, which is like a roll of wicker weave between stakes, and then you fill with soil or rubble. And yeah, there's like wattle and daub. Well, there's wattle walls as well, made of willow, and then on the outside it's banked up. So that's what gives it its keyhole shape, so to speak. And then there would be an artillery piece in there, maybe so just like an infantry unit, part of the fortification. But I've left like the rear edge just a little bit clear, so get a little bit of grass on there. and then it can just be part of like a town's defences or something, or an objective to fight over. Yeah, versatile really. And yes, that is an update. 35 minutes. That's not that bad. Have I missed anything? No. Had a bit of a day out in York yesterday. Twisted my ankle a couple of times, so I was up back home by 3 o'clock. Went all the way there, I didn't go into Monk Bar Model Shop. I walked past it on my search for a breakfast. And I walked past it again searching for a breakfast because I couldn't find one on the outside of Monk Bar. But yeah, if you're ever in York, Monkgate Model Shop is fantastic. And there's another model shop, I don't know the name of it, it's near the Red Lion pub. So if you know York really well, you know where the Shambles is. You come out the bottom of the Shambles on the pavement, so you've got the Golden Fleece opposite you, and then if you look to your left, you'll see there's a pub on the corner, and it used to be Y01, which is the first bit of the postcode for York. I don't know what it's called now, it's like a sports bar kind of thing. I've only ever been in once and I wasn't that impressed. But anyway, that road that goes down between the street pavement, where I'm not sure what's on the corner, but there's like a Greg's and used to be Pizza, I think, or Subway, sorry. But that bit of the street and that bar, if you go down there, that's Fossgate. So it takes you down over the River Foss. So there's a bridge down the bottom end. As you walk down there, look to the right, there's a Merchant Adventures Hall, old entrance, which is really, really good. But if you carry on, you go over the bridge, you'll see Lockfine Restaurant on your right. And then just over the bridge, maybe 50 feet, something like that, maybe a little bit less. On your left, you'll see an entrance to a little model shop. Now I say little, you can't really make out from the outside. It's got like, I think it's normally got like wire shutters on the outside, so it's hard to see into because I don't think the windows ever been cleaned either. But you go in there and it's like the model shops that you used to go into when you were a kid, because it's just like stacks and stacks and stacks of model kits on your left, and then there's like railway hobbies. I mean, Monk Bar Models is kind of like that, but it's a lot cleaner and they do a lot more die-cast stuff and things like that. And Monk Bar Models has a wider variety of hobby and stuff. But this place is fantastic, really is. Like I say, I don't know the name of it. I really should have been in about 40 times. But yeah, so I went to York the other day. Went past Monk Bar Models. It wasn't open till 10, and it was like 9 o'clock when I walked past. I didn't go down Fossgate at all. Like I say, I twisted my ankle. I fell. There's a place called Kennedy's in York, which is just off Stonegate. And they had a menu on the wall, and I went to look at the menu, and yeah, I tripped over the curb and like nearly headbutted the menu. So yeah, went and got breakfast at Costa Coffee instead. Had a mooch about, went to the Yorkshire Museum. It's the one in the Museum Gardens, at St Mary's Abbey used to be. Well, still is, I suppose. There's a fair few bricks left over. And that's another amazing place to visit if you're ever in York. I mean, York in general, there aren't many bad places in York to go to. There's a couple of pubs and restaurants especially that use fucking assholes. But by and large, the restaurants and pubs are brilliant. By and large, the hotels, I've only had one bad experience in a hotel in York, and the management's changed now, so I won't even mention the name of that hotel because it would be unfair, really. Because I hope they changed the crack, basically. And yeah, it's not too far from me. It's like, from where I live here, it's like 50 minutes on a train, 50 minutes to an hour, I would say. But like I keep saying, my eyes are going bad. Sick, like I say, I'm sick of saying it now. And can't get around as well as I used to, and I'm tripping over and stumbling over things. In York, it doesn't have one flat surface in the entire city. And it's not like the cobbles are like historic or anything, you know what I mean? Other than the shambles, I'd say everywhere else they could just redo every fucking path, really, relay it and make it flat. But yeah, the fantastic city, loads of stuff to see and do. And the Wargaming link here with Attack is I'll probably butcher that pronunciation. It's a Wargaming show in York, and it's on the 5th of February, Sunday the 5th of February. And I might head down there. I've got enough miniatures to do my third batch, which I think this lot should take me a month and a half to solidly finish off. Yeah. And then I've got enough for the next batch, which is 50mm stuff. No, we'll start smallest. The epic stuff, I've got the Iron Warriors infantry to finish. I still need some Khorne infantry. And then I want another unit of something to boost it up to 4,000 points. So I'm about 300 points short of 4,000 points. And I don't know what to get yet. And I think I've maxed out the Iron Warriors part of it, so it would have to be a Khorne unit, I think. And likewise, Imperial Fists, I've got about 250 points spare, and I've actually got 2 or 3 slots open for detachments where I could add. I might get like a unit of bikes or something like that for them. So that's next phase. 15mm stuff. Sorry, 10mm stuff. I've got probably the same again. A unit of cavalry, unit of infantry, and a gun. 15mm stuff. Unit of spearmen. I might buy another unit of cavalry, because the cavalry army, the forces used in the Second Barons War were very, very cavalry heavy. 28mm stuff. Persians, I've got an infantry unit and 2 more cavalry units to do, so I might do the infantry unit and a unit of Danish spearmen as well, because I was going to have a game of line rampant the other day, and I realised that I've only got 1 unit of spear Danes, spear armed Danes. I don't like using that free word because they weren't all vaginas. they weren't all Vikings. Yeah. So I'm doing like a Danish army. I've got a Norman army. I've got a ton of cavalry. I've got 6 units of cavalry for that. And a unit of spearmen and a unit of archers for them. I might do more. Actually, I've got dismount. I've got like foot knights as well. I think I've got 18 of them, or 20. It might even be 24 for like 2 units of 12 dismounted, sword armed Normans. So yeah, I don't think I need more infantry for the Normans. I could use that as a Crusader force as well. I could also add the Danes that I've got into that Crusader force if it's like really, use them as Anglo-Danes or whatever that went over to fight in the Crusades. So yeah, I think another unit of spear-armed Danes as well, plus the infantry unit for the Persians. And that leaves me with 2 units of cavalry left for the Persians. I don't know if I'll get another Space Marine unit yet. I would like to think I would buy a unit of the artillery or the ordnance battery Imperial Guard, because they look really good. I really like the look of them. So that might be my next 40k purchase to paint up as in the third batch. The Chaos stuff, like I say, I've still got, this is the start of my repainting the Dark Vengeance stuff, and I've got a lot of I've got a few units of Thousand Suns stuff, so you know, some of it needs repainting as well. So I've got plenty of Chaos stuff to keep me going to paint. So I might do 2 units. Or like another unit, the other unit of Chaos Cultists with the close combat weapons, and maybe, like I say, the Executioner and the Lord or something like that as part of the next batch. Sorry, the third batch. I'll just get some epic stuff on the go as well. Like I say, finish the armies off. Yeah, and that'll be the third batch. I don't know what kind of terrain to get. So I've got a cloth for the desert, and I've got lots of desert terrain. I've got enough desert terrain to fill the 6x4 board, easy. Likewise, now I've got a grass board. I've got plenty of terrain for that. My next 2, I've got another board I can build for, I want to do like a city fight ruined kind of board, which will just quite simply be a board painted grey, the same kind of sharp sand you've just seen on those terrain bits everywhere, and then I'll paint it grey. Will I paint it grey? Well, I might just dry brush it, you know, because I might just dry brush these as well, the gravel bit. I've done that on other terrain bits, and it looks alright. So I might just do that, like paint it, you know, like dry brush grey maybe, so it ties in with the buildings that I want to build. Because I've got a couple of bits of polystyrene packaging off a printer I just bought. Looks great scenery for a 40k building, basically. And obviously, I also, as well as, you know, 40k stuff, scenery wise, I want historical stuff, so I can do like Stalingrad or, you know, something like that. And I've got oh, what the hell are they called? Renendra or Reden, something like that. They do bases, but they also do it might not even be that company, to tell the truth. They do vacuum formed terrain kits, like buildings and that, factories and ruined buildings. And I put one of their ruined buildings together, and it's a little bit flimsy, obviously very thin because it's just plastic card. A lot of things like girders and pipes and stuff to the base and the gravel, and it looks quite good actually. I quite like it. Painted grey, give it a good old wash brown. I've got non-black. I've got shade washes, a bit of Seraphim sepia here and there, bit of Reikland flesh shade, just touch around for like things like mould and stuff. I think it looks alright, and it'll do for 40k, and it'll do for World War II, World War One. Yes, World War One. I have a cunning plan. But it's an idea I've had for ages. Yeah, but more on that probably later. So yeah, I went to York, didn't go to any model shop other than Games Workshop, and I didn't even buy any miniatures. I bought one paint, which was Striped Scorpion Green Contrast. I bought that for the loincloths on these Ungors. My Beastmen, I painted 6 of them with a Leviathan blue and 6 of them with a magenta Firestone, something like that. Doom Fire Magenta, sorry, that contrast paint. Because I want another 12, and when I based these ones, I couldn't rank them up because I kind of based them right at the end of the base for some reason. Well, actually, it was so they would rank up, but then I realised I based them all the same way. I should have done 6 on the left hand of the base and 6 on the right hand of the base, so when they go together, they rank up. But like I say, I did them all on the left hand side. So if I get 12 more, I'll base them all on the other side, and I'll paint 6 of them with the Doomfire magenta and 6 with the Leviathan blue. Lovely colours, lovely, beautiful colours. Really do like the contrast paints. The only downside of the contrast paints is, and it's probably the way I paint, when I paint them on, they get like air bubbles in the paint, and those air bubbles, because the contrast paint shines quite a bit, it's quite glossy when you put it on, you can't tell where the air bubbles are, and then when it dries, the air bubble, you can see the base colour underneath, so you have to go around dotting little bits of paint on where you'd missed technically. In fact, there's bound to be I'll be able to show you. Nope, that one's perfect. but yeah, I can't be asked. Yeah, it does happen a lot. Is what it is. I should go slow really, but I don't know. I've just seen a couple of videos for those speed paints from Army Painter, and they look a lot thinner. So I'm thinking they'll like get into the crevices and everything a little bit better. So I might invest in some of them, but we'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. So these, just looking at these crossbowmen, there's I think 3 or 4 different types, different uniforms on them. Some of them's got like padded gambesons, which is like a bit like a body warmer kind of thing, like a gilet. In fact, it looks exactly like a gilet. Ghillie or gilet. I bought my nephew a Burrow one when we went to watch Burrow at the beginning of the season. This guy's got chainmail on the top. Some's got helmets. I don't know if they've all got helmets. Yeah, the crossbows. The crossbows were separate, which when I looked at, I thought, oh my god, that's going to be such a pain in the ass to do. It was fine. But technically, they weren't separate. They clipped them off. They were fine. Like I said, they'll do some kind of mercenary unit attached to the Royals. You know, bloody Frenchmen coming over here fighting our civil wars for us. Yeah. Although technically, I mean, France was part of the UK back then, wasn't it? At least we thought it was. It's actually I think Queen Victoria was the first monarch who didn't, I think, claim to be, you know, Queen of France. Still, I think it was like up to her. It was always, you know, King of Great Britain, Ireland, and France. And yeah, there's coins with the different heraldry of the 4 different countries. You know, like fleur de lis for France, and then they got taken out. I'm sure it was Queen Victoria. Might be a little bit earlier. Might even been later. Yeah, so that's definitely my roundup. Yeah, nearly an hour long. Christ. Thanks for watching. You know, if you did like it, give it a like if you want. I'm not really, you know, I'm not doing this for money, so I'm not like, you know, getting sponsors and begging you for likes and subscribes and click that bell icon. I'd probably think less of you if you did. Quite frankly, I know, yeah, I'm weird like that. But yeah, happy modelling, everyone. Let's all have a good 2023 as well. That sounds like very good. Wishful thinking. But it's going to be good, isn't it? Ciao.